Well, I wasn't originally going to do a 10 talk, but I saw something. I saw something on TV last night. It was the trailer for this movie, which reminded me that I had a very small Wi-Fi role in the production of this movie a little over a year ago, and thought it might be fun to kind of share a little bit about that. It's an action flick. The IMDb description is there. I'm not sure it's something I'm going to go see or not, but there it is. I was initially contacted by a customer who does video sets for the TV and film industry out in New York, and basically what he does is if there is anything on the set that requires a moving image, that's his thing. This is some of the stuff that he's done. He does a lot of work on Law and Order, but the trick with this is that all the video has to happen at 24 frames rather than the 30 frames you're normally used to seeing. So he's got a bunch of specialized equipment to do that. There's a couple of the other ones, and this one down in the bottom left corner is kind of interesting because if you go look at it in detail, you'll see a rack full of 3-com switches there. He just accumulates old dead equipment and puts it in racks because it looks cool. And some of it he'll actually retrofit to make the lights blinky and do that sort of stuff that we geeks like. So he called me with this interesting project, and he said, we're doing this film, it's on an airplane, we need to do an in-flight entertainment system. And you can see see kind of what that looks like. If you've flown on most major air carriers, you've seen these sort of things. But part of the premise of the movie was that different passengers are tuning into this news broadcast at different times throughout the scene. And each of these screens had to be on the same thing. But they couldn't go in and wire up all these different screens into the seats because it would have been cost prohibitive. It would have taken weeks to do all that. And so came up with this idea of using tablets instead of the screens in the seats and feed them with Wi-Fi and then stream video to them. And the one catch was that I couldn't travel to New York to actually survey the site because the soundstage wasn't available. It was basically just a big empty box they're going to build the set in. And the plane in the movie is 2x4s and plywood, and you don't look too closely at it because you'll see. And then there's this slight problem. What they wanted to do would have fallen in the rounding errors on the $50 million budget of the film. And, oh yeah, we need a couple hundred tablets. I would have preferred to do this with iPads because streaming on iPads is a whole lot easier to do than it is on these things. Samsung provided crate loads of stuff for this film, mobile phones, and these were the tablets that they used for the in-flight entertainment on the seats. In first class, they had a 10-inch one because it was bigger, and then in coach, they had a 7-inch one. And so we had to figure out how to make this work. They created the newscast in Final Cut and played it out into a streaming encoder, and then we piped that to a media server, and then over the Wi-Fi on the tablets. The server was a Mac Mini, and because of the budget constraints mentioned earlier, we had to do this on Unify, which posed a few challenges of its own, as I'm sure you could guess. This is a scene from the movie. You can kind of see the videos on the seats there. For those of you that are Downton Abbey fans, that's Michelle Dockery on the right. She's one of the flight attendants in the movie. But yeah, we discovered what doesn't work. Unicast streamed to 200 tablets on 3 Unify access points. Not happening. So the shots where we had lots of these screens, they ended up having to fix that in post because it just was not a happy thing. Live streaming on Android is not a lot of fun either. Like I said earlier, on iPads it works. It just, you do it and it works. And then this particular batch of tablets was running Android 404, which had a number of streaming bugs as well. So we had to kind of limit this to the tight shots like this one here. And you can kind of see that looks like a Galaxy Tab if you've laid hands on one. And then the other problem that this posed was that these guys are only 2.4. We had to cover these guys in a, you know, some of the size of an airplane. It would probably fit in this room. Connect 300 tablets to it, and do it with 3 APs. And that was all they had the budget for. And of course, there's all the other crazy RF that is inherent in a movie set. But you can fix it in post. It was cheap, and this setup is kind of portable and reusable. He uses this for some other stuff he does on a couple other shows. If I had to do it again, I would have to design it a whole lot better. Get some real high density stuff in there. Get tablets that can do 5 gig. Do it with multicast, and probably not use Android. Like I said, he uses this tech on some other projects. He uses it to wirelessly stream some of the cameras that are on the set up to the production office. This is one show, the Michael J. Fox show. You can kind of see this little ring of screens around there, and all the computers on the set in the newsroom are being used as some sort of set piece, and he remotely controls all those via RDP from behind the set, and it's over the wireless, and so that way they don't have crazy network wires running everywhere. And then you can kind of see the access point up there in the rafters. But yeah, so it was kind of just a fun project I got to work on, and got to learn a lot, and you know, would definitely do a few things differently. But don't try streaming to 300 Android tablets on Unify. It's not going to be fun. So.